call function notation. On a graph, I might have in the past asked you, what is y when x equals 1? And so hopefully you would go to the graph and you'd go over to 1. Let's go over to 1 on the graph. And I want to know this v, that would be this point right here. What's the y value? -2. When I ask that in function notation, that looks shorter. Function notation, when I ask what is f of 1, I'm asking the same question. Because the x is what's inside the parentheses, f of 1, what you're going to do if I ask that today is you're going to go over to the graph and you're going to look at 1 and you're going to output what the y value is. So it's the same thing. All right, so what is y when x equals 5? Let's do that. Go over to 5. What's the y value on the graph when x equals 5? +2. And another way of asking that is, what is f of 5? It's the same thing. What is y when x equals -5? Yep. That is 4. In function notation, the way that I ask that is f of -4. Oh, no. Now I start changing things. What's f of -4? Let's do that. I asked for f of -5. -4 is right there. It's 3. Okay. What if I give you a y value and I ask you to find the x value? So then instead of going along the x-axis, we're going to go along the y-axis. So I'm going to go to y equals -2. I actually found that one already. So on the y-axis, I go down to -2, and I go over to where the graph is, and it was x equals 1. So the way I would ask that in function notation, this is a different kind of question, is if f of x equals 4, what is x? So if I ask that question, remember we were doing the scavenger hunt, and there were some of them where you had to set the equation equal to 4, or something like that? Or don't you remember that? And some of them you had to put something in the function. When I ask f of x equals 4, it's like I'm going kind of backwards. I want to find out what outputs the 4. So I'm going to come up here to 4. Okay, that's y equals 4. And I see this point right here has a y coordinate of 4. What's its x coordinate? -5. What is x when y equals 1? There actually sometimes can be 2 values. So I'm going to go to y equals 1 up on the graph. And I see there's this point right here. I hope you would agree, doesn't that have a y coordinate of 1? You can just nod. Okay. Also, wouldn't we agree over here that that one also has a y coordinate of 1? So there are 2 values of x that output 1, and they are -2 and 4, and you want to make sure you tell me both of them. If f of x equals -5, what is x? All right, let's go down here on the graph. -5, uh-oh, what's the problem here? Are there any y values on the graph that have a y value of -5? No, there are no. So I'm going to write, have I told you what that symbol is? Yeah. No, you could say none or no solution to that. How about over here? What is x when y equals -4? Same scenario. There are no y values of -4 on that graph. So that would be no solution. How about 12? If f of x equals negative 2, what is x? What do you think? Very nice. That's negative 2 y value, x value is 1. Okay, do you guys think you got it? Would you try 13, 14, 15, 16 on your own a second? All right, would you compare answers with somebody around you, please? Okay, let's say this isn't sinking in quite. I'm going to show you just a different way of thinking about it if you prefer this. Some of you are grasping it pretty quickly, and others are like, oh, I kind of get it, but I'm not sure. If you're looking at an ordered pair, maybe write this down. The x coordinate comes first, and what f of x equals comes second. Okay, so basically if you find the ordered pair, I'm asking you to either find the x or what the f of x equals. So on this one, it's like I give you the x coordinate, I'm asking you to find the y coordinate. On this one, I'm giving you the x coordinate, I'm asking you to find the y coordinate. On this one, I'm telling you what f of x equals. So I'm giving you the y coordinate, and I'm asking you, and there's actually, I think, 2 of those, right? X values. And same thing here. If I have f of x equals 3, what's the x coordinate? Does that help a little bit? Okay, so I look on the graph and I have to find, that's why I made this dot here. 3 goes with 1. So the answer to this one should have been 1. I'm boxing it because I got a lot going on there. -2 is right there. The output or the y value is 0. I want to find 2 points with a y value of 2. So there's 1 over here and 1 over here. So the x value would be 4 and -4. And it's kind of hard to tell. You're going to have to go off the grid a little bit on this one, huh? And you might have said no solution because it's not on there. Well, let's guesstimate. It's like an estimate and a guess. What do you think those two coordinates would be if I would keep going? Yeah. I think they'd be pretty close to 5 and -5.
But if you said no solution, would that still be negative?
Well, if
There's no plot on it. That's the thing. Like, there's no
here's what I'll tell you. If there's an actual point there and you're just having to guess at the x coordinate, I'd still like you to find it. Here is what there is no solution to. If I asked f of x equals -4, and I go down here, there's clearly no part of the graph that has a y coordinate of -4.
Yeah.
So that would be no solution to that. All right. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is reading graphs that are just like the function we did in our opener, and I think you guys are going to do really, really well with this because you got that. So sometimes I'm going to give you some graphs, and it's not going to be just x and y. We got to look at what's on the x-axis and what's on the y-axis. So what does it look like is on the x-axis here? Months or dates, right? And then what's on the y-axis? Temperatures. So I ask you to interpret this statement. I will ask you to do this. This is, don't write T of D. That doesn't mean anything to me. This means we're finding the temperature of a certain month. The temperature of a certain month. So find T of July 1. Would you go on the graph and look for July 1? And it's not perfect. What would you say that is?
Like 83.
80, she says 83, let's label degrees. If T of D equals 50 degrees, approximate what is D? What month is 50 degrees? Well, and wait, there's one over there too. March, somewhere between March and April, so we'll say middle of March, March 15. What if it's March 14? That's fine. And this one looks like really close, but slightly before December 1. What do you want to call that? How about November 28? They're not exact, guys. Just get it close. Not December 1, because it's not quite there. Okay. Do you feel like we're getting this? Let's go down to then the last one. I feel like this is an appropriate question leading up to Thanksgiving. Yams. Who knows what a yam is? It's like kind of like a sweet potato, yeah. All right, is it a sweet potato? Let's look it up in a minute. Is it exactly a sweet potato? I wonder what the difference is actually.
I think one of them is bigger than the
Okay, we're gonna look. You put a yam in the oven. After 45 minutes, you take it out. Let f of t be the temperature of the yam t minutes after you place it in the oven. Okay, so let's output here. This is the time in the oven, and this is going to be the temperature of the yam. Who would like to try letter A? What does that mean then? F of 0 equals 65. How about 0 minutes would mean what happened? You just put it in, huh?
Oh yeah, so
Okay.
0.
When you put the yam in, it is 65 degrees, which makes sense if it was sitting out on the counter. F of 5 is less than F of 10. Can you interpret what that means? Well, what does F of 5 mean? The temperature after 5 minutes is less than the temperature after 6 minutes, or 10 minutes. Yikes. I don't know where I got 6 from. Which makes sense if you're cooking something in the oven. As time goes on, shouldn't the temperature be increasing? F of 40 equals F of 45. What does that mean? Haley? The temperature is the same at 40 minutes and 45 minutes. And F of 45 is greater than F of 60.
Temperature is higher.
We'll say hotter, higher. At 45 minutes than 60 minutes. Can somebody tell me why that is? Go back and read in the problem. Why is that?
Because you take it out.
At 45 minutes, you take it out of the oven. So now the yam is cooling down.